Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're out the dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasha here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. And of course, use promo code SUNSET till the end of the week. I got confirmation is the end of this week that promo code is officially over. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Head over to thrivefantasy.com and use promo code MANHOUR and they'll match up to $50 on your first deposit. That is thrivefantasy.com, promo code MANHOUR. You can also download that on Android and iOS devices. One thing you cannot download on iOS devices, that's Brandon BC Combs. What's going on, Combsy?
What is going on, Michael Buckheister? What is going on, Man Hour Nation? 313 The Flash, Belly Up Sports, all the people over in the UK. What is going on? Buck, did somebody pee on your Cheerios today, man? You sound a little down and out opening up the show. You're just like, what's up, Man Hour Nation? Like, put some bass in your voice, man. We are Man Hour. We are live. There's no work right now. There is no wife. There is no kids. There is just you, me, and a whole lot of sports talk, baby.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to come in all week and stuff. It's just this week's kind of off with football practice being late because fall break and whatnot. Which, first things first, Combs, did you guys have fall break when like you were in school, like a random 2 weeks off in the middle of like October?
No,
man.
Like,
no, me neither.
Kids get so much extra time off now. Like, what is there's an April vacation now.
Yeah.
What the hell is an April vacation? Where was that when I was a kid?
I mean, we had spring break, but that was like 3 days in like late March, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But,
you know what else kids get the benefit of now? Man, there's a lot of hot teachers that sleep with their students, and there was none of that when I was a kid, man.
I mean, you'd have to go Gilf range on high hack on that if you wanted some of that action. But speaking of Gilfs, Tom Brady and Mac Jones went at it last night, and it came down to a final field goal, which the Patriots ultimately missed, and Tom Brady escaped Foxborough with a win. So one thing that many people want to take this game, it is Tom Brady versus Mac Jones. Mac Jones versus Tom Brady, right? So, Combs, let me ask you this question right here, right now. We saw Mac Jones take leaps and bounds last night and go toe-to-toe with the Buccaneers. Is Mac Jones the next Tom Brady, Combs?
No. I don't think there is a next Tom Brady. I think it's going to be a very, very long time before we see anybody go to 10 Super Bowls and win 7 of them. But I will say that last night actually felt like a passing of the torch. It felt like it gave Patriots fans some closure, right? It felt like it gave the Patriots fans the ability to say, all right, we cheered you on. Now it's time to boo you. Now it's time to cheer for our guy, which is Mac Jones. And he played pretty well.
Yeah.
And that Patriots defense played really well against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think it hurt the Bucks a little bit that Gronk was out because that hurt with Tom Brady's number one target being out. That always, puts you in a different, set of circumstances with your playbook when you're used to going to one guy and now you got to find some other guys, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly right.
But it really felt like this was Mac Jones' passing of the torch. This was his coming out party. Now, I still don't think that they're better than a 8, maybe 9-win team at the most. And I still feel like he's going to have some growing pains. But I feel like he can lead this team for the next 10 to 15 years if he stays healthy. I think he's good enough. I think he's smart enough. I think he's strong enough. And God darn it, we'd like him.
Yeah. Is Mac Jones more
You didn't
likable?
get that reference, did you?
No, I didn't. It was kind of
the old Saturday Night Live skit. Say it to yourself. I'm good enough. I'm strong enough. And gosh darn it, people like me.
Do people like Mac Jones though more than Tom Brady like right now?
No. I think people in New England were able to get past that last night. Where now they're rooting more for Mac Jones than they are for Tom Brady. I think last night it was kind of a mix. People were still kind of confused. And by the way, I won that bet with that over-under of the combination jerseys. There were there were so many of those combination jerseys last night. It wasn't even funny. It was actually kind of sickening. It was like, hey, guy, come on. That's not your guy no more. But I think this allowed Patriots fans the closure they needed, like breaking up with, leaving, a spouse or breaking up with a girlfriend or boyfriend, where you just need that closure to finally say, all right, you know what? I'm over it. It's time for me to give somebody else a chance. And that's where they're at. I think that's where Patriots fans are at. I think it was good for them. I think it was good for them. I think it was good for Tom Brady. And then Tom Brady threw it right back at him, with that old X talk where it's like, maybe there might be a chance later on where we could get back together. And the Patriots fans are like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, like as soon as Tom Brady said that, well, first things first, the post-game handshake between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, was that like the second most awkward thing you've ever seen in your life?
No, I mean, a lot of Bill Belichick's handshakes are like that. He's quick, he's short. But I don't know if you heard, but there was a 20-minute meeting between him and Tom Brady after the game, where Bill Belichick went to the Buccaneers locker room, met with Tom Brady for about 20 minutes by himself with no cameras, no, you know what I mean? So they had their talk, and, Tom and Bill both said they're not going to talk about what was discussed, but, it's... That is what it is. I mean, but Bill Belichick probably went to him and said, all right, hey, look, you won a Super Bowl without me. You came into my house. You beat me again. So, I guess you really are the GOAT.
That was AKA, hey, I got a coaching spot for you when you want to come and train
I
Mac
don't think
Jones.
Brady will go that way. I really don't.
Do you think Brady would be a better coach or a better commentator?
I think that once Brady's done with football, I think he's done with football.
You think he's going to golf and...
He's gonna go spend time with his kids and with Giselle and his supermodel wife, and he's gonna finally enjoy the fruits of that life and just go away. And he'll be a lot like Joe Montana. You after Joe Montana retired, you really haven't heard much from Joe Montana. From time to time, you'll see a commercial here or there, but it's very rare that you hear from Joe Montana.
Yeah, so before I ask you the next question here, let's go ahead and welcome a lot of people into the chat here. We have some members popping up. We have Nana. She's a 9-9 member here at youtube.com/manhour. She says, hey guys. And then she asks how Michelle's kids is doing, because if you guys remember from last night, Michelle's daughter broke her thumb, and she has a follow-up on Wednesday. So huge shout out to those guys for becoming a part of the family, and you guys like always take care of each other. And then Javier comes in and says, thank God basketball is back because Miami Dolphins suck again. Let's go Miami Heat. That's
there has not been one time ever in my life where I've said thank God basketball is back. At least not the NBA. I don't mind basketball at other levels. It's once it gets to the NBA, I just don't care anymore. I'm more like right now, right? I've got the Blackhawks and Detroit Red Wings on in the background right now because I thank God hockey's coming back because the Cubs are done.
Yeah.
Even though I'll still be watching Major League Baseball playoffs every single night. Yeah. I'm happy hockey's back too.
So speaking of Major League Baseball, guys, we will be breaking down the bracket here in hour number 2 of Man Hour. And of course, we're going to talk about how trashy Lamar Jackson is moving forward as well. But going back into the main topic of the night here, Combs, we saw a blueprint kind of being laid out last night by the New England Patriots of how to beat the Buccaneers. Did we see a blueprint get made last night of like how to beat the Bucs? And is there a team out there that can follow that Patriots blueprint and beat the Bucs?
No, and here's why. probably a handful of reasons, right? And one being this wasn't a normal night under any circumstances. This was a time where the greatest quarterback of all time was going back to the franchise that he made what they are today. And he was also missing his favorite target. And it was pouring rain most of the night.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of things that factored into what happened last night. The when it boiled down to it, the Bucks actually, when you watch that game from end to end, the Bucks actually owned that game. They were never to me in doubt of losing that game. So I personally don't think that there was a blueprint for anything. I think if anything, the blueprint was that Mac Jones is a viable quarterback in this league. Mac Jones can do enough to help the New England Patriots win some ball games, and as he grows in this league, he can be a superstar in this league.
Yeah, so you are exactly right about the Mac Jones thing. The only thing that upset me a little bit about Mac Jones was he could not put away the game last night. Well, it was a final drive with like 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6, and the ball got batted down at the line of scrimmage to force him into that 56-yard field goal. But that just comes with experience and
Let's
learning
just face it though, if he would have finished off that drive, if he would have scored a touchdown, there probably would have been about 30 seconds left, and Tom Brady would have found a way to win it anyway, right?
I would have loved to seen that. Would have that been the ultimate send off? Yeah, I definitely think that is the ultimate send off for Tom Brady. But I think Bill Belichick did lay out the blueprint of how to beat the Buccaneers, and that is to force them into one-dimensional. Understand that they're going to beat you in the passing game, so let them beat you in the passing game, but then take away the running game, keep the 7 guys in the box, because it was going into the fourth quarter. I think they had 1 yard rushing on the night. I believe it was. Yes, Leonard Fournette had a touchdown, or no, it wasn't Leonard Fournette. It was Jones. But they did have a rushing touchdown, but they only had 1 yard going into the fourth quarter, and you could tell that Tom Brady just felt not really comfortable all night. I don't know if it was the nerves or what it was, but I think the blueprint has been laid out, and a team that can execute that game plan, and we will be talking about them here momentarily, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys can follow that game plan and beat the Buccaneers 9 times out of 10. But Combs, with all that being said, in a roundabout way, we saw the Patriots play a complete game. You know, they fell just short. 6 inches to the right, and this would be a different conversation. I know you said that you still have the Patriots going 8-9 this season, but could they be a dark horse in the AFC?
I don't want to say no, because Bill Belichick is still their head coach, and they still got a really good quarterback in Mac Jones, and they've got some weapons, and that defense is very good. So I don't want to say that they can't be. I just wouldn't expect them to be. It wouldn't shock me though if they back into a wild card spot, the 7th seed or 6th seed. Would not shock me. I don't see it happening. I think, Bill Belichick is gonna. I can't remember. They had a losing record last year, so maybe that was the last time he had. Or were they 8-8 last year?
I believe they were 8-8. I don't have the facts in front of me, but I think they were 8-8.
Yeah. So I would say that, to me. Let's see here. I actually just pulled it up. The the New England Patriots last year were 7-9, so they had a losing season last year. But I just don't see. I never count Bill Belichick out, and I know that he doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. I know that it's not the same team, but I think he always finds a way to win. So if he finds a way to win, it wouldn't surprise me. The fact that he was 7-9 last year with that team shocked me. Yeah. I didn't think that team was capable of winning 4 games the way it was constituted, and with all the people that they lost off of their defense. So it wouldn't shock me if they make the playoffs. I I'm not going to say that they're my dark horse. There's other teams that I would pick that are a little bit better than them to be a dark horse.
Yeah, and you can say a little bit better that you want, but if you just look at the East alone, I mean, obviously the Bills are running away with the division right now, flexing on people, winning 40-0, 50-0, 80-0. Like, I don't care. The Bills are flexing on people right now, but they have yet to play the Patriots, and for some reason, I think the Patriots kind of had that mental edge over them. And we are going to see a really good game between the Patriots and the Bills, just like how Javier said. The Miami Dolphins suck, and then the Jets, they got their first win in like 5 years. So it would not surprise me if the Patriots do back their way into the playoffs. But I feel like the Patriots are a team, if you let them into the playoffs, if they slide in there and they battle all season, they're going to make some noise in the playoffs. And
yeah, but see, they had the Bills number, and they were in their heads when Tom Brady was there. But last year, the Bills were 2-0 against them. This year, I mean, the Bills have scored 118 points in the last 3 games. So they're clicking on all cylinders right now. So I think, they waltz into New England. I don't even know when they play them. It looks like they don't play them till like week 10 or 12.
In the last week of the season, right?
Yeah, and then the last week of the season. Or no, week 16 they'll play him.
Okay.
But it's I don't think that they have their number, but I think the Bills would be heavily favored in those games.
And I totally agree with you, but we also saw the Jets game, but they played the Saints last week, right? No, they played the Titans. That's right. They played the Titans, and the Titans were heavily favored in. That's where you get the term any given Sunday. Any given Sunday, anything can like happen, and I like the Patriots when you give that any given segment here. So yeah, on the guys, we are running the behind the scenes footage tonight as well. Drew is over there, and he says that Monday Night Football is being postponed at the moment due to thunderstorms with severe lightning. Aren't the Chargers stadium inside?
Yeah.
Why would it be?
They got a dome.
Yeah. Why would it be? I mean, I guess if they had the roof open.
Did they have the roof open?
Yeah.
And now, because it does, once you have one of those roofs open, it does take some time to close that dome.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken,
it says I just turned it on. It says game currently in lightning delay.
So I think if I'm not mistaken, if you have a retractable dome, you have to say 3 or 4 hours before the game if it's going to be inside or like outside, and maybe these storms just kind of just popped up out of like out of the blue.
Yeah. And I actually see the wind blowing.
But then he says the roof is closed, so I'm very confused. Why would you be postponing?
Are they like the I know the Cowboys have that hole in the dome so that God can watch the Cowboys play.
Yeah. I
wonder if they've got a hole in the dome here too.
I don't know. Yeah,
I can't imagine why it would be delayed by lightning inside.
Yeah.
I don't.
But yeah, so if you guys are thank you for tuning into Man Hour though, because this is where all the happens. And speaking of the God's team, America's team, the best team in the NFL football, hands down, the Dallas Cowboys, man. Last Sunday, Combs, Zeke ran for 143 yards on the ground. The Dallas defense is stepping up and flexing on people, aka Diggs. He has 5 interceptions in just 4 games. He has more interceptions than his brother has catches this season. Fun fact. But let's flip to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is looking great, after suffering that horrific injury last season. Combs, should Dak Prescott be the MVP frontrunner right now after 4 weeks of football?
Yeah. I mean, I think you're kind of sleeping a little bit on Matt Stafford if you say, that he's at least not in the conversation. I think that we're kind of sleeping on Derek Carr if we say he's not in the conversation. So actually, no. You know what? I'll say no. I would put it on Derek Carr, depending on what he does tonight. I mean, if he goes up and has another good game against the Chargers in LA and beats the Chargers in LA, I would have to give it to Derek Carr right now, being 4-0 and playing the football that they're playing over there in Las Vegas. I would definitely. I'd put Derek Carr as my front runner.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke on this like a little bit last week, as well, and obviously Derek Carr is having a great season. Matthew Stafford's having a great season. Aaron Rodgers the last 2 weeks has had a great season, as well. But every time you think of MVP, I have to revert to what I said last time. It's the best player on the best team, and yes, the Raiders are 3-0 or 4-0 right now, right? Possibly going to go 4-0 after tonight. But let's just be honest. The Raiders are the most overlooked team in the NFL. When's the last time they've done anything? 2002 when they had like Tim Brown and Rich Gannon and those boys.
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So it's been almost 20 years since they've done anything. And when you speak on the Dallas Cowboys, that is America's team. That is the Dallas Cowboys are the best, or not the best team, but the richest team in the NFL. So let's say Derek Carr and Dak Prescott had the same exact stats. The teams had the same exact records. Who is the nod going to go to? Prescott. Why? Because he's with the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. What will make you more money if you are if you are the NFL? And that's Dak Prescott winning the MVP. That's why he is the front runner right now.
Well, I mean, there's another guy we're overlooking here, and that's the guy that we talked about a little bit, whose team has put up 118 points in the last 3 weeks, and that's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He's leading a very high-powered offense. I believe he's leading the league in touchtown passes. He's got 9 of them.
Shoot, he has like 9 of them in one game versus the Dolphins.
Yeah. So, I think there's a lot of guys right now that are in the conversation. And that'll thin out. That herd will thin out as the season goes, and we'll have a clearer picture. But right now, I have a hard time not talking about Derek Carr when it comes to that. And I think he's been underrated for a long time.
Yeah, so Javier says Dak Prescott will get hurt in a few weeks and he has money on it. How the hell do you have money on an injury? Like, that's...
Because Javier bets on everything, and that's how I know that Dak Prescott is going to have a flawless season with no injuries, because Javier bet on it, and when Javier bets on something, he loses every single time.
Yeah.
So Javier,
Dak Prescott, let us know... Go ahead.
I'm actually going right now. I'm going to the sports book right now. Here's going on my phone. Where is all right, Dak Prescott MVP. $3,000 I'm putting on this thing right now.
Do it. but yeah, I mean, Javier, be honest. When's the last time you won that bet? Because you bet what the Hurricane, or like the Miami Hurricanes would beat who, Combs? It was you two had a bet.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
He had the
I don't think he has won a bet all
Notre
season.
Dame. Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has won a bet all year. No offense, Javier, but your betting picks are just as good as mine, and I mean, mine are pretty bad. Let's just be honest about that. But
that guy, it could be Alabama versus North Dakota State. That guy would try to bet me $500 that North Dakota State's going to win the game.
Yeah. Hey. You know what? When it pays
we
out
love
1,000,
you, Javier.
when it pays out 1,000-1, and that one time you win out of the out 1,000, you got to do it, right? I mean, shit. Wow.
I agree.
Why not? So speaking of that, you got to do it, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger,
Ooh,
Big
hold
Ben.
on.
Hang on,
real quick. I just saw the comment on YouTube. Damian Dresser. There's another guy we're forgetting about in that MVP conversation. Kyler Murray.
Oh yeah,
I mean they're averaging 35 points a game, and they just beat a team with a defense who we've been talking about as the best in the league.
No.
And he
not
put up
we,
37
you.
on them.
Not we.
Oh, you've been talking about the Rams as the best in the league too. Don't start.
Oh, I thought you meant the Cardinals are the best team in the league.
No, I've been talking all since before the season about the Cardinals being the best in the league. But they went out and did what they did to the Rams and put up 37 on that Rams defense. That was impressive.
Yeah, you are exactly right. But like I said, the Arizona Cardinals fall in that Raiders category, kind of like, what have you done for me lately? And that's nothing, right? I mean, hell, when's the last time the Cardinals have went to the playoffs?
But don't you think it's more impressive if Derek Carr, so you were talking about same stats, same record at the end of the year. Isn't it more impressive that Derek Carr did it with less weapons than what Dak Prescott has. Dak Prescott's got a ton of weapons.
I would definitely concur with you on that 100%. And I think Derek Carr should win the MVP if they were head to head. But you have to think outside the box, like who even votes for the NFL MVP?
So you have to think like the idiot writers who vote for the NFL MVP.
So you have to think who will make more headlines in the offseason, who will make you more money, and that's Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Combs, look at this. Anytime I put Dallas Cowboys, #Dallas Cowboys in our YouTube, we almost always double the views and comments on every show.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a huge following.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why they call them America's team. But they've got a huge following. They're like the New York Yankees. They travel really well, and they've always got fans everywhere.
Yeah. And if you're a Yankees fan, you're a Cowboys fan. So I mean, they go hand to hand, right?
Yeah, and I mean they make up championship T-shirts all the time, and when they don't win, they send them over to Uganda and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of Ugandans who are Cowboys fans because they've gotten a bunch of free T-shirts over the last 30 years.
True.
And so they travel well.
Yeah. So going back to what we were talking about before, Kyler Murray got brought up, and that is Big Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, guys, they have a top-notch defense right now, championship caliber defense per se. Ben Roethlisberger is a shell of what he used to be. He probably should have retired 2 years ago. Let's just be flat out honest, and he's hanging on, I think, a little too long. Combs, should the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin bench Ben Roethlisberger?
Who's the backup?
We have Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins.
No. Then no. No, you should not bench Ben Roethlisberger for Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph. I would strongly consider, and I know we've talked about this before, but I would strongly consider making a play for either A, another veteran guy, or B, I would make that play and try to get Deshaun from Houston. I think having him go to Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin and with the offense that they have, I think it would work. I think he would make them instantly a contender again in the North.
So, with that being said, obviously, I think Deshaun Watson right now is off the table because you're in week 4 of the NFL season. Deshaun Watson, I haven't heard any trade talks or anything with that for him right now whatsoever. But there is a name that is out there that looks like a Ben Roethlisberger-esque type quarterback, and that's Cam Newton. So if they were to bench if they were to bench Ben Roethlisberger, go after Cam Newton, I think. But this is why you cannot. Go ahead.
Why Cam Newton? Cam Newton is just not, and he showed it last year in New England. He's just not that guy anymore. He's not.
Hang on. We said he was that guy for the first four weeks of the season, and then he got COVID and was out for 2 weeks, and then he came back and was like, we don't even know. We didn't even recognize him whatsoever. So, right?
Yeah, I don't know. He had a couple of good seasons, but he's just not that guy anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Isn't it a coincidence though? Off topic real quick, because I just looked up and saw they were showing the lightning flashes over in LA. They actually do have open end of the stadium. So that at the one end it's actually opened. But isn't it kind of coincidental that, it's the Chargers and their thing is a lightning bolt, and all over the stadium it says bolt up, and now we're on delay because of lightning.
Yeah.
Sorry, off topic.
Yeah. It is what it is. But flashing back to the Pittsburgh Steelers here, can Mike Tomlin bench Ben Roethlisberger right now? And the answer to that question is absolutely no. You cannot bench Ben Roethlisberger right now, because if you do that, Guys, we're going into week 5 of the NFL season. If you bench your starting quarterback, what Ben Roethlisberger been there for like 16, 17 years, like however long it has been. When you bench your veteran for Mason Rudolph, you basically say, "Hey, we are giving up on this season, and we're throwing in the towel." And there is still time to turn around this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw it last year. You know, they were winning some games. They went 11-0, and they were ugly ass wins. And Big Ben came off that elbow operation. I was like a Tommy John surgery, and you know, he was a shell of himself like then, but even a shell of himself now. He has a better running game behind him. The receivers are more improved on on the year. So you definitely cannot bench Big Ben right now for Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph. Now the question is, after this season, is the quarterback on the roster right now, Combs, or are they going to have to draft somebody?
They're going to have to draft somebody. The quarterback of the future is not on the roster. Dwayne Haskins is, I mean, he's even the third string, right? Like, he's not even the backup. So he came in because they signed him and they thought maybe he would be someone, but he couldn't even beat out Mason Rudolph. And Mason Rudolph still has a caved-in face from Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't plan on either one of those guys bringing you forward, and I would think that moving forward, you're gonna have to draft somebody to be there, or you're gonna have to find somebody in free agency, like maybe Deshaun Watson will be available at some point, and you could trade for him, or
how about Alex Smith?
You gotta find something. No. I think Alex Smith is done in the NFL.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you as well, guys. We do see your comments in here popping up on YouTube.com/manhour. But we are up against the first break, and after the break, guys, we got Combs' eye test coming up. So, Combs, before we head to break, tell the people what the eye test is all about.
So basically, the eye test is just something that I'm noticing, something I want to rant about. Last week, it was my Bears and the horrible, head coach that is Matt Nagy. This week, it is about another head coach, but it is not Matt Nagy.
All right, guys. So Combs' eye test is coming up after the break, and then after that, we do have Shot Talk. So save your questions for us at youtube.com/manhour here, and we will open up the chat line, and we'll answer as many questions as we can during Shop Talk. Guys, we'll be right back here on the Man Hour. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheisel and Brandon Combs. Now you can find us on Twitter at manhour_buck and of course manhour_combs on Twitter machine, as I said, because Twitter doesn't go down unlike Facebook all afternoon today. If you guys are unaware of that, Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, that was all down for about 8 hours or so, and you guys thought the world ended. But that is not on Combs' eye test. But what is on Combs' eye test? You'll find out right now. Combs, oh, you big guy.
All right, Man Hour Nation, what is going on? It is time for the eye test. And last week we talked about Coach Matt Nagy and how much of a horrible head coach he was, how he needed to get rid of the play calling, how much he sucked. This week I'm going to talk about another head coach. And that head coach happens to be Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer, not only is his team now 0-4, but after the game, he goes to one of his restaurants and says that a group of young ladies want to take his photos. So he's posing for photos and doing photo ops with them. And then there's a viral video that gets out there that, this young lady is grinding all over him, dancing in his lap. And while all of this is going on, while this video is going viral, his wife tweets out, and all of this while I'm here babysitting. Urban Meyer, you're a freaking scumbag. You really are. I mean, not only, one, are you married, you're a father, and you're a head coach in the National Football League. And you put yourself in a position like this. And to sit there and say, oh, I was just, taking photo opportunities. I was just, doing that, Stop. Don't sit there and tell me you apologize to your family and you apologize to your team and you apologize to this person and that person. Oh, and this was all just stupid. You know what? We've heard it all before. We've heard it all before from athletes and famous people, celebrities, everything. Okay? And 9 times out of 10, when stuff like this is on video, it usually is what it seems to be. And this type of stuff, look, I get that some people get falsely accused, but this isn't a false accusation. This is something you were actually doing. And you were doing whatever, letting this girl do whatever, having video of it surface while you have a wife and kids at home. You're a scumbag. It's just plain and simple. There's no other way to put it than you're a scumbag. And you don't care what gets out there. You don't care how your wife and children see you doing whatever it is that you're doing. But you want to say, oh, it's stupid. And I apologize to my team and I apologize to my family. Well, how about you just don't cheat on your wife? How about you just don't put yourself in that position to get caught with that video because you're doing stupid stuff? You do not belong in the NFL. You've shown over 4 games you do not belong as a head coach in the NFL. You barely belonged as a head coach in college. You got caught for stupid stuff in college, and every time you got caught for stupid stuff in college, you moved universities. You've been a scumbag your entire coaching career. You're still a scumbag now. We have no use for you. Urban Meyer, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, Combs. Now, we always joke around, here on the Man Hour. I always try to make light of the situations and, all that stuff. Javier and me have the same comical personalities, and he says that Urban Meyer is the man. And during your little rant there, I said Urban Meyer was married. If his wife stays with him after this, something is either really, really wrong, or they're just staying together for publicity's sake, for the image test, much like why Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are still together, simply just for the eye test, right? And when you do this, you fail the eye test. You fail the eye test as a human being. I would never think about talking to somebody else while I'm married, obviously I talk to people like every day, but not crossing that line. Right. Does that make sense? And yeah, and then people are saying how Javier said, well, maybe he's just trying to get out of his marriage and out from his wife. There's other ways than from cheating. Yeah, simply say, hey, I want out. Right.
Talk to her. Be honest with her.
Yeah.
Do the things that you vowed to do for her. Do the things that you've done. I've been in that position where you don't want to be in a marriage and in a relationship, and I've been on the other on the receiving end of it as well, and it sucks, man. Why can't you just be a human being, talk to the person,
Yeah,
and figure it out, and look. I'm not saying people don't make mistakes. I've made my fair share of them over the 40 years of existence I've been, but you seem to do it a lot. Urban Meyer does it a lot.
yeah,
And that's the difference between making mistakes and being a scumbag.
yeah. And just to add to your point there, the reason why he does it a lot because he consistently gets away with it. It gets swept under the rug. Just like Damien said, money can save a marriage, and he's had a lot of money for many years since he's been at Utah, and that is kind of what has gotten him through all this. Like I think, and Combs, you said he is sorry for his wife, sorry to his team or to his players and like the like organization and like all that stuff. Guys, people are only sorry when they get caught. I hate to go down this road here right now, but it is time to be somewhat serious. He is only sorry because he got caught. Let's just be flat out honest about that. And I see people saying he is under pressure and like all this stuff. Well, go home and have your wife grind on you. Yeah. I don't know, man. It gets me worked up when like people cheat. It pisses me off on it. Like honestly,
It's just stupid. There's no. It's just not fair to the other person.
Yeah.
And so I've got no room for it either. Like I don't. Even like look, there's the whole when you've got friends and blah blah blah, and sometimes things and you're not supposed to say anything because you don't want to be in that situation. Like I'm not that guy. Like if I know that one of my friends is cheating on his wife, I'm gonna be like, look, man, you should really talk to her, and I'm gonna talk to him. You got to be honest. Same thing if I know a female is cheating on her, you should be honest with that person. Like it's just not. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and not to make light of any situation here, but it is hard enough pleasing one spouse, like let's just be honest. It is hard enough, pleasing one spouse. Why try to do 2 or 3 or 4 or like 5? I mean, hell, like I walk in the house 9 times out of 10, and I'm already in the doghouse because I smiled walking the door or whatever. Right?
Between work, basketball, and this show here, like. I work about 90 hours a week, so I really don't have time for a second one. So like it just like there's no need for it. It's just I don't know.
Javier says he is human, and then Damon says I like to play devil's advocate, but this segment was 100% legit. Yeah, I mean, this
Javier sounds like like he subscribes to Ludicrous Mind of Thinking. We got hoes in different area codes.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess since he was not at home, it's like it's okay. I guess I don't know, but like happy wife, happy life. That's exactly right. But Javier, you say he is human. What part of the human element says like, hey, you know what? My wife and kids are like at home. Maybe I need to go home.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I mean, me as a coach, I like to go to the bar and de-stress after the game, but I'm not on Tinder taking pictures asking this girl to grind on me.
That's the thing. Like last week we had a tough week at work. Me and the boss went to the bar after headed to a job site and talking with a customer. We went to the bar. There were women in the bar, but we didn't stop and take pictures and start dancing. Like we went there. We had a couple drinks and then we went home to our wives. Like it's just
and
there's no.
In our defense, we aren't famous either. I guess. All right.
That's true.
I mean, what was the movie? Any given Sunday when the girl from Saved by the Bell walks up and it's 1,000 for the night.
I'm pretty sure
5,000.
even if I was famous though, I still wouldn't You know.
I totally agree with you 100%. But guys, we're up against our next break. On the other side of the break, we're going to have some shop talk here, guys. So save us some questions here if you guys want to ask anything. YouTube.com/manhour. And then we got some more sports headlines coming up as well. We're going to talk some Lamar Jackson. We have to talk the man from Louisville himself. And then Major League Baseball playoffs. We're going to break it down, and Combs is going to give you guys his World Series picks. So bet on them, mark them down, get on pick'emwars.com and pick Combs' picks for you, and they will get you some money earned. And then we got the bottom line with Kevo coming up as well. So guys, we got a lot more to cover here on Man Hour. So Shop Talk's coming up. We'll be right back, guys, after this.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs and I. If you have missed any part of the show whatsoever, simply head over to youtube.com/Man Hour and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon and notification all, as we have started doing clips every 3 hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if my math serves me right, guys, we're uploading like 8 clips a day, 8 or 9 clips a day. So definitely giving you guys tons of content over there on top of the live shows as well. So it is time for Shop Talk. Shop Talk is brought to you by Eats Sunglasses, YeatsOriginal.com. Link is in the description. You can use promo code MANHOUR to save yourself 10%. Yeats is the best sunglass you ever put on your face, but half the price of Oakley's. So with that being said, Nana is off to bed. Nana, good night. We love you as well. And then Javier says he has money on the White Sox.
Did you talk? Oh, great. There go the White Sox chances.
Yeah.
Way to jinx them, Javier. Why don't you put money on the Yankees or the Astros?
Right. Or the Cardinals. That'd be great.
God. Yeah, the Cardinals. I would love for you to put money on the Cardinals.
What were you going to say?
Did you talk to Nana about the segment we wanted to have?
We have not talked
Making
about
waffles with Nana?
We have not talked about it yet, so I will talk to her tomorrow about that. Because Facebook was down all day, so I couldn't talk to her.
Isn't that crazy? People were freaking out.
Yeah, well, people go to Twitter to say, ask if Facebook's down, which is kind of funny to me. But
yeah, Yeah,
But-
I saw Facebook's Twitter post that they were down.
Yeah, but I do have Nana's cell phone number, so I guess I could have just texted her too. But that's my fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll
That's old
definitely-
school, though. I
Yeah,
mean, you don't want to be uncool.
Yeah, I mean, me and Nana are so cool, aren't we? No, I mean Nana's cool. Buck is not so much. So Combs, we got a lot of positive feedback from your segment there, and many people agree with you on that. Besides Javier, but I think he was just trying to poke fun and light of the situation. So, I mean, way to nail that right on the head. But what is your biggest surprise of the NFL season so far?
Man, that's a tough one. I think I would say my biggest surprise would probably be the Raiders.
Yeah.
Being 3-0 and having a chance to go 4-0. I didn't think the Raiders were going to be that good. I believe I only had them at 4 or 5 wins this year. I have to double check that, but
Yeah, I think they had to make 6 or 7. I'm pretty sure, but
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have them being very good at all, but they look really, really good.
yeah, they do look really, really good. Matthew Stafford looks really, really good. The Rams look great despite losing to the Cardinals. One thing that has surprised me so far this NFL season is obviously the Kansas City Chiefs getting off to the slow start that they
That
have.
didn't surprise me at all.
On the offensive side of the ball, the right tackle and the right corner just playing horrible right now. Number 21, his name always slips in mind, but that's how bad he is because I don't even know his name. But a team that has kind of shocked me a little bit are the Miami Dolphins. To be honest, Javier's Miami Dolphins. Many people expected them to take that step forward. Tua was going to be the guy, and
Yeah, what do you got?
they're not. You can
Tua
get
got
hurt all you
though.
want, but he was still only completing like 50% of his passes during
Yeah.
that time.
I've never been a big believer in Tua. I actually thought your big surprise would have been the Cardinals because you were down on the Cardinals, and I mean
I
they've
still
been
had them going
dominant.
like 10-7 though. I mean,
yeah,
like
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
really good
I mean,
division.
how down are you on a team? They're still 10-7, right?
yeah, that's true. The Dolphins. So I'm not a big believer in Tua. I was never a big believer in Tua, even when they took him last year with the 5th overall pick. I said, God, they drafted him way too high. And I think that's another big shock is how poorly Tua played, but also how poorly, not really a surprise to me again, but how poorly they're playing over there in Jacksonville because they really thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be like some god that got sent from the heavens to play football from the way everybody was talking.
Wayne G.
And he's looked horrible.
Yeah. I mean, me and you both said he was going to be a bust, and I mean, obviously, it is too early to tell on that, but all tails are pointing to that side. But one thing I also want to bring up is the New York Football Jets. Why can they not develop talent over there? I mean, like, they got a brand new coaching staff and everything, but they just cannot develop talent. Like, Zach Wilson looked better in college than he does now. I mean, like, go ahead.
He's still young, and they had a good week. He had a good week. They beat the Titans. They played well. I mean, they could have easily collapsed in overtime, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And they found a way to win that game. So I think it's just going to take some time. I mean, there's still the New York Jets. Robert Saleh went in there. Granted, yes, he's got Zach Wilson, but they don't have any weapons other than that. There's no weapons in New York right now for the Jets. And so it is going to take some time. I think that, there's going to be some growing pains, obviously, with Zach Wilson that are going to get highlighted by the fact that they have no weapons. They still have no offensive line. And I think that stuff's going to get highlighted because Zach Wilson is the franchise quarterback. And if they're not winning, who do you put it on? You usually put it on the quarterback.
Right.
So I just give it a couple of years. It's not going to happen this year. But give it, I would say probably by 2023, 2024, this team is going to be put together and they're going to be a pretty good AFC East team.
So you're telling me in 2 years' time they will be a playoff-bound team?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 years time we'll be talking about them possibly being a wild card team or maybe even a contender in the AFC East.
So if they do not become a wild card team by that time frame, the 2023, 24 season, is Robert Saleh out of there?
Yes, and he should be. You should go in there and you should be able to develop and start picking a team. And you've got some draft picks, you've got some capital, you've got the ability to go sign free agents. You've got a quarterback, you've got a franchise quarterback. You should be able to, and I think Saleh will. I really like Robert Saleh. I really like the way he coaches. I like his mentality. I really think he's going to thrive, and I think he's going to turn around that Jets organization.
So Javier says Zach will get better. He is just a rookie. Give him time.
I agree.
I mean, like, I agree with that as well. I think all rookie quarterbacks should sit a year, but Wayne G gave, or no,
I
was
don't
it,
agree with that.
Was it Wayne G or Supaz? I can't remember. I think it was Supaz gave us the stats that sitting a quarterback doesn't give you any more advantage, or like vice versa.
Yeah, he came with some great stats with that argument.
So with that being said, how much time do you give a quarterback? Period. Like, I don't care if he's a rookie or if he's a
It depends
veteran.
on the
How much time
organization and the
do you give him?
situation. Yeah, it depends on the organization and the situation. Like you've got to look at it realistically, right? So the Jets are a perennial 1 or 2 win team. They haven't been in a good organization for a long time.
Yeah.
And you've got to improve little by little. So, this year you want to see maybe 4 or 5 wins because now you've got your franchise quarterback. And I think they can do that easily. I think they might actually still win 6 or 7. I think that next year you want to see progression. You don't want to see, fall back to 4 or 5 wins. You want to see progression. So win more games than you won this year. And then the following year, by that time, you should be a 10-win, 11-win team. You should be able to get better every year. And if you're not getting better, then something's wrong. And you have to take a look at it. You have to look at the whole situation, though. We can't just blame Robert Saleh. We can't just blame Zach Wilson. Are they giving Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson the pieces that are needed to win? Is the GM doing his job? Is ownership giving the GM the capability to get the pieces in there? And that hasn't always happened with New York. That hasn't always happened there. And so you have to look at that. We give Deshaun Watson a big pass because he's been with that crap show up in Houston. We say he's a top 5 quarterback in this league, and he is, but he hasn't won a lot of games lately.
Right.
And that's because he's in a really bad situation. So we have to see that the Jets are willing to turn that situation around. And if they give Saleh the pieces, if they give him the go-ahead, if they give Zach Wilson the pieces, and they perform, great. If they don't, then yes, then we can put it on them.
Yeah, and then Javier comes back and says, "Look what Sam Darnold is doing. He's better. He's better because he's not in that crap-ass organization called the New York Jets and with Adam Gase. Let's just be honest there.
Not only that, but he's better because, the Panthers really didn't play anybody in the first 3 weeks.
Right.
And now they're starting to see some defenses, and we saw what happened when they went to Dallas. They were still able to put up 28 points. Don't get me wrong. They were
Without
still
Chris McCaffrey.
They still hung in there. No Christian McCaffrey is a huge hit, so they could still be a decent team. Their schedule isn't overly tough, so I could still see them being a 10 or 11 win team. I liked God. The hell's his name? The quarterback. What the hell? Sam Darnold. I like Sam Darnold when he was in New York. I just thought he was in a really bad situation, like we just talked about. They never gave him the pieces. The coaching staff was horrible. The GM was horrible. Ownership has been terrible. So he was in a really bad situation. I liked him. I thought it was a great move by the Carolina Panthers to pick him up. And I like the situation that they're in.
All right, guys. So that's going to be it for Shop Talk tonight. Like I said, we do Shop Talk every night at 8:45 East Coast time for about 10 to 15 minutes. So if you guys ever have any questions, life advice, because you guys want to ask us for life advice and like how I do my hair, because, my baldness is really starting to come back in with the Rogaines kicking in and kicking some ass. But
I usually just cut it short and put a hat on.
Yeah, I just do that now. So guys, we are up against the last break for tonight, and on the other side of the break, we're going to talk some Major League Baseball playoffs. Combs is going to tell you who is going to win the World Series and to put a bet on it. So that's right. Combs is pick this team because they're going to win, because I'm always right. No, but not.
And trust me, once you hear my predictions, you're going to be like, wow, he's actually being honest. He's not being a hater or a homer.
All right, guys. So we are going to take the next break, and Major League Baseball coming next.
Tell me why you haven't hit the like button yet. Tell me why you haven't subscribed yet. Tell me why you aren't commenting in the comments. All we want you to do is become a part of Man Hour Nation. Hit that like button, please. Thank you. Adios. What's up, Man Hour Nation? Coming up here next on the Man Hour NFL Power Rankings with Graham Wallace. At Bus Wallums on the old Twitter machine. Check him out. But right now, guys, hit that like button, share this with a couple friends, and be sure to comment. It helps the channel more than you ever know. We appreciate everything you guys do for us here in the comments at youtube.com/manhour. Man Hour Nation, rise up. Damn, man, let me borrow some money. Now, Philly, what do you need money for now? I be losing all my money on the pursuit of fantasy football, yo. I just need like 10 more dollars on my machine. Again, I told you to stop playing that site. You simply go to pick'emwars.com, link in the description, and you get to play for free. So you telling me I can play for free? That means 0, 0, 0, and Wilson Man Benjamins, yo. Listen, yeah, give me some of that free dough, you know what I'm saying? Oh. Head over to pick'emwars.com and pick your games for free and win real money. Link in the description. Check it out. Hey, glad you're there. New merch. Check it out. manhourradio.com. Hey, look, a hot dog.
Man Hour Nation brought to you by Brooks Roofing and Siding. Contact them at 812-868-7663 or online at brooksroofingin.com. Brooks Roofing and Siding, protection you need when nature strikes.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon BC Combs here tonight. My man BC Combs. You gotta find us on the Twitter machine at manhour_buck and of course manhour_combs. And you can follow the actual Man Hour show on Twitter, man_hour_radio. You can also find us on facebook.com/Man Hour Sports Talk and of course youtube.com/Man Hour. All the socials are like out there when we try to be active each and every day over there. We are also live here on youtube.com/Man Hour every Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. East Coast time. And if you miss any part of the show whatsoever, you can also find us on podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And then we're also on 313 The Flash, Belly Up Sports, Midwest Sports Talk, and of course, UK Sports Talk as well across the pond every Monday through Friday throughout the day there. So, guys, follow them on Facebook if you like to rewatch the live shows. But Combs, Major League Baseball playoffs is officially upon us, man. And honestly, this is the most exciting part of baseball. Opening day is good. The All-Star break's good. You know, the push for October's good. Just like we had a four or five teams high going into the AL wild card. But nothing about October baseball. Like October 8 baseball is the best, hands down. Do you concur with that at all?
Yeah, I love playoff baseball. I love baseball in general. I think hockey is still the most exciting playoffs that we have out there in any sport. I think football is probably the most intense But baseball to me is just the most fun. Like the strategy, the chess match,
Yep.
I just love this game so much that the Cubs have been out of it for 3 months now, and I still like every night I'm tuned in, and I will be again for these playoffs as well.
Yeah, so the first round of wild card play starts October 5th here, and we do have the Boston Red Sox take on the New York Yankees. So this is just a one game play-in game, and the winner of this game will play the Tampa Bay Rays. So Combs, I got to ask you this question: who do you got winning this game, man, and why?
I am going to go with the Boston Red Sox. I think that Nathan Eovaldi is going to pitch a heck of a game. I think that the Yankees are prone to strike out a ton. Not having their God, why do I do this with names? I don't know why. And I know these names. I know who the hell they are.
I don't know who you're talking about either. Sorry, I
God.
can't help you here.
But not having their second baseman, and I don't know why I can't think of his name. But that's going to hurt them. I mean, he is their spark plug of that offense, and they strike out at a high rate. And Garrett Cole has not impressed me when it comes to big games. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox. I think Xander Bogaerts is going to have a big game. I think this is going to be an 8-4, 8-5 type game. And I think that the home team's going to do it. I think that they're going to be mad that the Yankees wanted them, and they're going to tell the Yankees, all right, you want us? Come get us.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you that. Like, is there such thing as being pissed off in the baseball realm and makes you play
DJ
the better?
LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu. I remembered his name.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so is there such thing as playing pissed off in baseball that makes you play more aggressively and better, or anything to that effect, like in other sports?
You mean like bulletin board material?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there can be those times where you're just going up against those teams, or maybe even another player that you just don't really get along with, and that you just don't like. And I think that can have an effect on how you play. I know for myself, I've never played obviously at the major league level, but playing through high school or playing, in men's leagues and stuff like that. Anytime I'm playing against a team that I used to play for, I always seem to play better. Anytime I'm playing on a team that said they didn't want to pick me up or didn't have room for me, and then I find some other team to go play for, I always seem to have a better time against them. So going up against teams that you just don't like, or teams that give you a reason to want to play better,
Yep.
which the Yankees did by saying, hey, we want Boston and we want them in Boston. We want to come into their house is what they said. And now they're getting it. And I think Boston is, if I'm going with consistency and if I'm going with bats that I trust to actually make contact, I'm going with the Boston Red Sox over the New York Yankees, and that's going to be my pick for this game.
Yeah, and so if that pick does hold true here, we do have a ALDS matchup with the Rays versus the Red Sox. Who would you got winning this series, and why?
Man, it's going to be a dogfight. And I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Rays. I just think that they are a better team. I think that they play more consistent baseball all around. And I think that they would just come out on top. I think that they're deeper in their pitching staff than the Boston Red Sox are. So I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Rays. I think it'd be a 6 or 7 game series, though. Or I'm sorry, no, it's the DS. So it would be a 5 game. Yeah, probably be a 4 or 5 game series. Probably a 5 game series. And Tampa being the home team in game 5. I'm going to go with Tampa.
Yeah, so Combs has taken the Tampa Bay Rays in 5 games over the Boston Red Sox in the ALDS, moving us to the top of the bracket, where you do have the Chicago White Sox take on the Houston Astros. Like, man, Combs, this seems like a matchup kind of made in heaven almost, to be honest with you.
Yeah, look, I really like this White Sox team. I've been high on them even before last year. When I was doing the show with Soup Boss, we were talking about teams that we saw up and coming, and we both picked the Padres to be better last year, and we were both right about it. We both said that the White Sox were going to be an early arriving team, and they made the playoffs. We were right about that. This team is ready to win, but Tony La Russa is going to screw it up for him. This is going to be another 5-game series. This ALDS is going to be fun all the way around to watch. It's going to be another 5-game series, and it's going to come down to a late innings, and Tony La Russa is going to pull the wrong trigger. He's going to pull the wrong trigger. He's going to end up having, he's going to end up having either, what he's going to do is he's going to pull in somebody to come in and try to shut it down to bring it to the closer spot, and they're going to end up blowing up, and that's going to be Craig Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell is more comfortable in the closer's role, but for whatever reason, he sticks with Hendricks and having Liam Hendricks in the closer's role. And that needs to be flip-flopped. Hendricks will thrive in the setup role. He lives for moments like that. And his mental makeup is better than that of Craig Kimbrell's. Craig Kimbrell is better off in the closer's role, but he hasn't done it yet. And he's not going to change his ways in the playoffs, Tony La Russa. So that's what's going to end up costing the White Sox. Houston Astros win this series.
So the two picks that you have done in the ALDS, Javier has gone against you. He says, though, the Red Sox are going to beat the Rays.
That's how I know I'm right.
And the White Sox are going to beat the Astros. And then he says, I'm getting paid with the White Sox and leave Tony La Russa alone. He's a vet. He's a vet that should have took his last DUI and stayed at home. Let's just be honest, right?
And that's how I know I'm right. Javier says I'm wrong.
All righty there.
Javier,
Combs.
get your money ready, buddy.
Get your money ready. So that takes us to the ALCS. You do have the Astros taking on the Rays. This is a 7-game series. Who do you got winning, Combs?
God, I'm going to throw up in my mouth by saying this. I'm going to go with the Houston Astros. I'm going to go with the Houston Astros in the upset. Look, I know the Rays have been the best team in the American League all season long. And there's no reason for me to go against them other than the fact that the Houston Astros just seem to be that team this year that want to prove everybody and get that whole scandal behind them and prove to everybody they can win, blah, 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 without it. Although instead of trash cans, now they're whistling from the dugout and all this other stuff. So I think that that's the route they want to go with it. And I have this gross feeling about this entire playoffs. And we talked about this before. I'm going to throw up in my mouth when I say this, but the Houston Astros are going to the World Series.
Yeah, so Houston Astros are playing baseball again in November, and if Javier has it his way, they won't be playing past the second week of October. So we will see who is right on this moving forward. But then that takes us over to the NL side, and the NL wild card, we do have the Cardinals take on the Dodgers. The Dodgers is a 101-win team, and the Cardinals are in the playoffs because they got hot late. Combs, who wins?
Oh, God. I just chowed down 2 hot dogs in between breaks, and they're about to come up.
Relish, that's weird.
They're about to come back up, though, because I'm going with the St. Louis Cardinals. I just feel this team, they just don't go away, man. And even though I think that Max Scherzer is going to outpitch Adam Wainwright, I still feel like this is going to be a 0-0 or 1-0 game heading into the 7th inning. It's going to be a bullpen game. And I like the Cardinals bullpen a little bit more than I like the Dodgers bullpen right now. And God, that sucks for the Dodgers to win 106 games and go home after 1 game. But I think that that's where we're going to be at. The Cardinals just don't go away. They won't leave me alone, Buck. And I don't think they're going to leave me alone now, so I'm going with the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals have kind of been your enemy all season long, and Javier says the Dodgers
my entire life,
the Dodgers
they've been my enemy. I hate the Cardinals with a passion.
So let me ask you this questions. If this was a 3-game series or a 5-game series, would the Dodgers win this game? Or
Yes, the Dodgers would win the series. Yeah, any lengthy series, I would take the Dodgers. 1-game playoff, anything can happen. And I know it's Max Scherzer. God. I really like the Dodgers. I really like what they're doing. It wouldn't surprise me if the Dodgers come out and win this game 11-2 either. But I don't know. There's just something about the Cardinals. I don't see them going away.
There is a such thing as getting hot at the right time, and the Cardinals are hot right now. What they won like 13 games in a row or 14 games in a row. It was absolutely crazy. So
it was like 19.
Oh.
They won 19 games in a row before they found the Cubs took 2 out of 3 from them this weekend.
Yeah. Well, either way, they're hot. They're playing good baseball right now, and Combs has them going forward to play the San Francisco Giants, and that takes us exactly where we're at here, Combs. The Cardinals and the Giants in the NLDS at the bottom side of the bracket. Who do you got?
I already threw up in my mouth once, and I'm gonna ride the hot hand. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals and the Giants. They're pretty much the same team, right? They're a team that is scrappy, a team that nobody saw being good this year, but ended up making the playoffs. And I'm going against the grain here, and I know that, and I hate them. I hate them so much. But I think the Cardinals are going to dispatch both of the 106 and 107 win teams and make it to the NLCS.
Wow, what kind of series are we looking at? Are we looking at a sweep or 7-game series?
Well, it's
Or a
the
5-game
DS,
series,
so it would be. I think the Cardinals do it, and I think the Cardinals do it in 4. The Giants just. I don't know. There's just something about them. I think that the Cardinals are just that team of destiny right now in St. Louis, and I don't think that it's going to fade at this time. I just don't.
Yeah, and this is an odd year, so the Giants don't make the World Series in odd seasons, right?
True.
That's
a good point.
So your pick is probably spot on here. So let's go to the top side of the bracket here, and another team that kind of is your nemesis all season, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers, and they take on the Atlanta Braves in the NLDS. Who do you got?
Yeah, I watched the Brewers closely this weekend because I was keeping an eye on the Dodgers and that Giants divisional race, and the Brewers were in LA playing the Dodgers, and that pitching staff with Devin Williams not being in the 8th inning anymore did not look as good. They didn't. They had a couple of leads, and they ended up blowing the leads to the Dodgers. And that's going to be the same case here. The Atlanta Braves are just they're good, and they can hit, and they're young, and they're scrappy. So I'm going with the Atlanta Braves here.
And how many games?
I'm going to go with the Braves in I'm going to call a sweep here. Braves in 3.
Wow. That would be a surprise to Torrey. Well, Torrey's kind of been down on his Brewers all year. But at the same time, he did nail the 87 wins, I think he said, or 90 wins. I can't remember what he said. But
and the last time the Brewers were in the playoffs was 2019, and that's when the Nationals won the World Series. People forget the Brewers had them down in the 8th inning. They were up by 2 runs, and a base hit to right field off of Juan Soto. And as the right fielder came in, the ball scooted under his glove and went past him, and 2 runs scored. They tied it, ended up winning it in the 9th, and went on to win the World Series. That's just what the Brewers do. They find a way to lose it in October.
All right, and so they're going to lose it to the Atlanta Braves, and Mike at work would definitely be very, very excited about that. And Javier comes out and says, Combs, playoff is a different animal. Wow, I should bet you.
I mean, the playoffs might be a different animal, but your betting skills are not, so I am down to take your money if you really want.
And then Javier says Atlanta always loses in the playoffs. Nothing will change. Wow.
Atlanta always loses in the playoffs.
They beat the Reds last year, right? They swept the Reds, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, they did, and then I just don't understand how. I mean, they've been a perennial juggernaut since 1991.
That's also the same with the Cowboys, right? But people don't ever have faith in them.
That's true.
But I don't know. So moving on here, we have the NLCS as Combs is predicting here. He has the Atlanta Braves take on the St. Louis Cardinals. This is a 7-game series, and the Braves would have home field advantage.
Yeah, they would have home field advantage. This is a tough one, man. The Cardinals, I feel, have better pitching than the Atlanta Braves. and pitching plays in October. But if I pick the St. Louis Cardinals, that means I got the St. Louis Cardinals and the Houston Astros in the World Series. And that would probably be the first time I never watch a World Series game in my life.
Lies.
Yeah, you're right. I'd watch it hoping the stadium would implode. I can't do it, man. I'm going with the Braves. Braves in 7.
Braves in 7. So, I mean, we kind of prepped pre-show, and I had your Cardinals going in there. So, what made
I gotta change it.
What made you flip that script?
I didn't want to throw up on live camera.
So what you're saying is your homerness is kind of kicking in a little bit.
No, I couldn't bring myself to do it. And the more I think about it, Game 7 for the Braves would be at home. They'd be throwing Max Fried in Game 7.
Yeah.
All the hype in Atlanta. Atlanta is loud. Atlanta's a tough place to win, especially in a Game 7. So, and I figured it'd be a Game 7 series either way, but I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, think about how loud it would be if they could do the chop still, right?
Yeah, well they can.
I thought they
just choose not to.
I thought they banded that. They banded it.
I don't think so. I mean, they'd still do it at Florida State games. They still do it at all sorts of different places.
Javier says Atlanta is not going to win.
Okay.
So, Combs, you have the Braves and the Astros in the World Series. I'm not for sure who has home field advantage here. I believe it would be the Astros, if I'm not mistaken. But who do you got winning?
Who had the more wins? I think it would be the Astros,
yeah.
I believe. This is a tough one, man. I didn't plan any of this out. I told you I didn't have time to actually look at it and go through it. So after I actually look at it and go through it, I might have a completely different bracket.
Well, I can tell you that the Cubs won't win this game.
It's true. I am going to go with the Atlanta Braves in 6. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves in 6. I think the Braves pitching is about the same as Houston's, and I trust their bats a little bit more. They've made some good moves. They made some good moves at the trade deadline. I know they lost Ronald Acuna Jr., but they made those moves, and it's really kept them afloat. So I'm gonna stick with them. I'm gonna say the Atlanta Braves are your World Series champions this year.
I've been watching the Braves a lot here in the last month to 2 months because a buddy of mine at work is a huge like Atlanta Braves fan, and I like talking baseball with him at work. But one of the most underrated trades or pickups that the Braves did earlier in the season here was they picked up Soler from my Kansas City Chiefs. He has been on a complete tear since he has arrived in Atlanta, batting well over 360 on the season since he's been at the ATL, and he has World Series experience like as well with the Royals. Like just a few years ago. So that's why I like the Braves in this just because they've been kind of sneaky good. Like all season long. They've been kind of flying under the radar per se. And they're kind of in a battle with the Phillies here, like the last week or 2 weeks of the season, and they pulled it out. So
and Ozzy Albies really stepped it up after Acuna went down.
Yeah,
and he's been sneakily one of the best players in baseball, and nobody talks about him. So I'm with you. I really have a good feeling about the Braves.
Yeah, and it kind of lines up perfectly for them because, like the Brewers, they're not a horrible team, but they're not a team built for the postseason. Just like you said, Combs. I'm taking your words.
Well, they were before their setup guy went and punched a wall.
Right. And the Giants and Cards don't really excite me. The only team that excites me is the Dodgers there, and I think I agree with you on that. Is like they cannot win a one game playing game versus the Cardinals. I just I don't have faith in that. So
right.
So Combs has the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series over the Houston Astros in, you said 7 games, right? Or no, 6 games. I'm sorry.
6 games.
Yeah, so mark it down. Combs is never wrong, guys. So if you are playing some bets, go ahead and get it in there. But guys, it is time for the bottom line with Kevo here. And unfortunately, Kevo had some things happen in his personal life, so he is unable to make it tonight. So we are going to replay the first episode ever with the bottom line with Kevo here. So he didn't have his mic set up then because, he kind of had some technical difficulties right before the game started, or right before the show started. So sit back and relax and enjoy the bottom line with Kevo. And then at 10:05, guys, or actually be about 9:55, we do have the after hours show starting as well. So guys, sit back and enjoy some bottom line with Kevo, and then join us with the after hours here in about 20 minutes as well.
It's number one. One thing I noticed, I read a couple articles, and I was working on an article, decided not to kind of go through with it, but basically talking about the draft stigma that is given to certain quarterbacks. Quarterback number 1, for example, we'll talk Deshaun Watson. What was the big thing out of him, or the one knock, right? He won championships. Or a championship. He, beat Saban. But the knock was, we don't know if he can look past his first read. And it's funny because Robert Griffin got the same knock. Lamar Jackson got the same knock. Michael Vick, same knock. Jameis Winston, same knock. And the thing about Jameis Winston that was crazy was, like, of all prospects, he's not the one that, should have been getting that knock. Of all of them that I just named, Jameis was kind of like, he was considered that kind of can't miss. But even then, it was like, we don't know after the first read if he's capable of making good decisions. But we didn't hear that from Mark Sanchez or Marcus Mariota or, the dude Jake Locker from Tennessee. So it's just funny because you kind of see the difference in the portrayal in these certain quarterbacks, and there's just something we have in common with all of them. And I don't necessarily like it. I'm not really a huge fan. I'm also not someone who tries to make things super, super serious. So we will go into with the next topic something a little less serious. It's kind of more funny. But this is the one where it's kind of like when I have a chance, I do like to bring attention to said topic so that, it's a conversation to be had. That's the whole point of my podcast, is to spark genuine, progressive conversation. It's not to convince anyone of anything or the other. It is purely to spark genuine, progressive conversation.
So, Kev, this is something that I myself, I've talked about on this show in the past as well. And one thing for me as a Bears fan, we did a draft night show. I was super excited when they traded up and drafted Justin Fields. And the night that they passed on Deshaun Watson to go get Mitch Trubisky, the second they announced that pick, I turned off the TV. I went to bed. I was angry. And the first thing that I had said when we talked about it that draft night was, I said, the Bears are never going to be a successful organization until they come to the realization that they can actually draft a black quarterback, because that is one of the things that they have never really done. And the fact that they went out and got Justin Fields was great. Now they've got to go get the coach that can actually coach him. That would be a huge benefit for him. But you're right. I mean, that it has been, something that they had, has been a problem when it comes to, the mobile quarterback, the black quarterback. It's always been something that they've talked about. Can they read? Can they do this? One of my knocks on Justin Fields coming out of college was he tends to hold on to the ball too long. And that's still a knock I have on him now in the NFL, is that he's got to learn how to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. I don't know if that stigma ever goes away though, because this has been one of those leagues where it's progressing. I mean, we're starting to see a lot more mobile quarterbacks. The mobile quarterback is really starting to take over this league. So I don't know if it'll continue to be a thing. But why do you think that has been a thing? So we got no volume coming out of you right now, Kev.
Yeah, so I think it's been a thing is because of all the players that you said there, Michael Vick, Jackson, etc. Like these haven't been pocket passers per se. Lamar Jackson as an NFL quarterback still can't.
Yeah.
Still cannot throw out of the pocket. Let's just be flat out honest. And he is one of the trashiest quarterbacks in the NFL because he is a running back playing quarterback position.
You stop with the blasphemy right now. He does this every time, Kev.
But
every time we talk Lamar.
But I don't think that stigma will ever get away just because when you see these high-profile black quarterbacks, they are on teams like Ohio State. They're saying Justin Fields cannot read his second or third spots on the field. He didn't have to. He had the best freaking receiver on the field. It was wide open. Why do you want to throw him to second receiver? You don't have to. So the only way that this stigma ever goes away is if, I don't know, the next 5 or 6 years, the best athletes, let's say Michael Vick, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, they all go to Division II schools that don't have the best athletes, and then they still dominate with a pocket style type of approach. That's the only way the stigma will ever go away. Kev, this is your segment. What are your thoughts?
And so you're absolutely right. I don't think the stigma is going away, and that's because the top tier athletes aren't going to Division II schools or Division III schools. Also, if I want to be honest with you, I'm a little bit on the train with you on Lamar Jackson as far as a quarterback, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
No,
facts.
I think that he's a great football player. I'm not gonna call him a great quarterback. That's that's another conversation for another time
next week.
But my thing is back to Combs when you ask why I think that is. I think naturally, people tend to fear or cast off things that they don't understand or that they don't, like things they can't figure out, right? They don't understand. We call people like Kyrie Irving weird because what he's saying doesn't match our normal opinion. The NFL for so long has been a league where winning one type of way works. It used to be ground and pound. My quarterback didn't have to be that great, but I needed to have a great running back and dominant in the trenches, offensive and defensive line. And it wasn't until somebody decided, okay, yeah, I don't mind being the crazy one, to change the game. Now it's a passing game. It was stagnant quarterback. There was a time where Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, like look at the quarterbacks I'm naming here, stagnant quarterbacks. And someone said, well, I'm going to go get this Vic kid, or I'm going to go get, there's a quarterback in the NFL has just been something that when you're looking for, and this is every position, honestly, in all sports, when you're looking for a quarterback, what are you looking for? Well, I don't want 5'11", Kyler Murray, unless he can do ridiculous things no one else can do. I want 6'6", Josh Allen with huge arm,
right,
huge potential. And the black mobile quarterbacks don't fit that. And when people are really, really good with their legs, and you have to find, and all they do is make plays, but in the world we live in, you got to find something. You want to say, oh, he's running because here was the biggest thing with Deshaun Watson. He holds the ball too long. But before that, it was, at first they said he can't read past the first read because he would look, if it's not open, he would take off. If he saw man coverage, he pretty much would drop back to take off. They said, oh, he's not reading the coverages. So then he said, okay, I'm going to start reading the coverages. I ain't got no offensive line, but you want me to sit here and read the coverages? That's what I'm going to do. So then he holds the ball too long, right? It's lose-lose. But he had the whole press conference where he sat there, reporter asked him a question, and he highlighted exactly what he's looking at on the field. He says, if the safety comes down, you do this. If he stays up, you do the blah, 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 right? And people praised him for it. But it's like, no, it was always there. But when he stood there and waited for the reads to come with no offensive line. He was holding the ball too long. When he took off because he had no offensive line, he can't make the reads.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't
just
know what the
something
scouts were thinking about when they were talking about him not being able to do, because all I saw all throughout his college career was a quarterback that knew how to win ball games and a quarterback that was ready to come into the NFL and dominate the way that he did it against Alabama in that championship game. The kid was just a proven winner. I hate it. Like, God, I don't know how the scouts that said Trubisky is a better draft pick than Deshaun Watson still have a job. If they still have a job, I don't know. I don't know how it's possible.
And it's crazy because when you get the quarterback position wrong in the NFL, when you're using a top pick, a number 1, 2, 3, first round, whatever pick on a quarterback, and you get that wrong, you set your franchise back 5 years every time you do that.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. If the Bears would have went Watson, which the crazy part about that draft was like, I thought it was a no-brainer. I know I'm no scout and I know I'm no but I was just like, one, let's be honest, I didn't really know nothing about Mahomes. He was playing at Texas Tech.
Nobody did. And he was a losing quarterback at Texas
Tech. He was losing.
Average.
But I'm watching Deshaun Watson do things to Nick Saban that the only other quarterback I've seen do that is Johnny Manziel, but he obviously doesn't have Johnny Manziel qualities, right? In terms of the immaturity and things like that. I was like, he says all the right things. He's got the body for it. He's mobile. He gives you things that a lot of quarterbacks don't. And he's well coached, right? At Clemson. And like you said, he was a winner. And I think that sometimes that's a bit overblown, but there's a reason why Tom Brady goes to teams. They go from 8-8 to Super Bowl winners. Like, there's something to be said about, such and such is a winner. Like, I think that term was overused with like Tim Tebow, but there's something.
Tim Tebow was a winner, though. I mean, he never got a chance after winning with Denver.
Yeah, look, listen. I don't care if you win a playoff game with 3 completions. I'm not putting that on you. And the whole, he's a winner though. No.
Tom Brady wins them all the time with 3 interceptions.
That's fair. That's fair. Now, Tom Brady also comes back from up 28-3. I mean, down 28-3, right. And Tom Brady does the stuff against the Seahawks. And when he gets the ball, it's over with. Even though the Seahawks should have won that one, by the way, that was nuts.
So maddening.
But back to the topic. I was so surprised that like Deshaun was not. Like, I thought it was obvious, and I'm a North Carolina fan, and Mitch Trubisky was solid in college. He was better than Bryn Renner, who was the quarterback before him, and he was better than Marquise Williams, the quarterback after him. But he only had 1 year of college, and we didn't really know what he was. And I think that helped him. They thought, well, hey, he's closer to that prototypical what we want in a quarterback than Watson is. I think that's really what it comes down to. A lot of these owners are old school owners. A lot of these teams don't choose to have black quarterbacks.
Virginia McCaskey's only 104. She's not that old school.
So going back on topic here, while you were thinking, like my mind started to like spin here. When you think of a 6'5" white guy, what kind of position on a football field or a basketball court do you think he is going to be? In my head, a quarterback and a post guy, right? When you think of a 6'5" black guy, what kind of player do you think he is going to be on the football field? A wide receiver. Yep. On the basketball court, a shooting guard, two guard. So with that being said, I mean, yes, it is a judgment by your height and color of your skin, but like I think that is why that mold will probably never be broken, because you will never get a 6'5" black quarterback. They will always be 6'3" and under. They will always, like, if you're 6'5" and over, you are playing basketball or wide receiver.
Jamarcus Russell was
that is a big part of that is because, who's the black quarterback now who's pocket passer more so anything else? We're talking Teddy Bridgewater.
Mahomes.
And Mahomes, Mahomes is a unicorn. I really don't count him in any situations when we say these things. He's got the strong arm. He's got the mobility. He got to stand in the pocket and light you up. He doesn't count. We can't talk about him when we say these.
So your
But
pocket passer, Russell?
Russell Wilson is pretty solid too, but is a pretty solid answer as well. But you got to remember, Russell Wilson be moving now. Russell Wilson holds the ball a long time, and a lot of his plays come off of he's just sitting there spinning around in the backfield, doing all this stuff, and defensive ends can't tackle him.
In the Russell Wilson's defense, he holds the ball for a long time because they give him 35 seconds to throw it.
Super long time.
Yeah, his offensive line gives him a ton of time to throw it.
I'm not sure. And your point about basketball, the NBA is a little bit different because, like JJ Redick is 6'4". Like 6'5" at this point is a shooting guard, and they want your point guard. You want big guys. Right. But football, absolutely. When I think 6'5", fast, I want you a receiver, especially if you got hands. But now these, it's all going to be about just because you're 6'5", if you play quarterback in college, I'm going to, you're going to draft to play quarterback. This is why Lamar Jackson played quarterback at Louisville for 2-3 years, however long it was. And then they were like, hey, do you want to come play wide receiver? Because to your point, he had that body style of like, yo, he is super fast.
Yeah.
We can put him, and he was like, no, like I'm a quarterback. Hey, do you want to play running back?
Prescott a pocket passer?
Yes, and that's a great kind of counter to what I was saying, because I'm a Cowboys fan, Dak Prescott, but even coming out of Mississippi State, he wasn't a pocket passer. He was kind of like that read option power football, very similar to Cam at Auburn, not quite nearly as good. So for all listening, listen. I'm not saying that Dak in college was Cam in college, but that was him. He didn't really develop that. Let me sit here and read the reads until he came into a Jason Garrett offense that was all about timing and rhythm and things like that.
Right.
So to bring our conversation full circle, I agree. I don't think that stigma is going to go away. I don't know what has to happen, but a lot of the owners are old school, played old school football, have old school philosophies. And they're the ones who, when you run a business, you bring people in your business, you hire those who can help carry out your vision. So I'm not bringing a coach who just completely thinks the game different than me. I'm going to bring somebody who I at least, I like where his head is at. His head is near where my head is at. We got some things in common. We can make this work. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. So
it's number one. One thing I noticed, I read a couple articles, and I was working on an article, decided not to kind of go through with it, but basically talking about the draft stigma that is given to certain quarterbacks. Quarterback number one, for example, we'll talk Deshaun Watson. What was the big thing out of him, or the one knock, right? He won championships, or a championship. He, beat Saban. But the knock was, we don't know if he can look past his first read. And it's funny because Robert Griffin got the same knock. Lamar Jackson got the same knock. Michael Vick, same knock. Jameis Winston, same knock. And the thing about Jameis Winston that was crazy was, like, of all prospects, he's not the one that, should have been getting that knock. Of all of them that I just named, Jameis was kind of like, he was considered that kind of can't miss. But even then, it was like, we don't.